Do you ever feel like no matter where you go, someone is talking about meditation and how great it is, and you think to yourself, yes, I know how great it is, I know all the benefits, but you just can't seem to get yourself to do it consistently? Either you've tried and you've started and you've done it for a few days and haven't been able to continue, or you just haven't even been able to start in the first place. So then in the end, instead of meditating and feeling relaxed and calm, you just end up getting really frustrated with yourself, like, why can't I make this stick? Well, I've been there many times and I feel exactly the same way. So let's talk about some practical tips that you can put in place to try and overcome this. By the way, hi, my name's Hannah. I'm an ex-doctor turned social entrepreneur, and I talk all things mental health, personal development, and social entrepreneurship. So if you're interested in any of those topics, then subscribe and you can see more of this content. So the first thing to note is that the typical concept or the visual that you have of meditation, where someone's sitting on the floor, legs crossed, eyes closed, is not the only way that you're able to deeply relax and focus your attention and clear your mind. There are actually many different ways that you can deeply relax and focus your attention on something, and the best thing to do is find something that truly you enjoy and isn't some generic advice applied to every single human in the world. For example, I feel like everyone says take a bath to relax, and my partner absolutely loves taking baths. He can sit there for ages and feel super relaxed, but I really don't find baths relaxing, and it's because actually I'm kind of traumatized. If you've ever watched The Ring, when I sit in the bath, I feel like Samara is gonna come out of the water and get me, and that's like super embarrassing to admit, but still I feel scared when I'm in the bath, so it's just not a relaxing time for me. So instead of taking baths, I have another way of being able to deeply relax. I actually stumbled upon it by accident. My partner one time randomly bought an acupressure mat from Amazon, and I just looked at it and I was like, oh, this is a weird health device thing, it's not something that I would use. But one day he convinced me to just try it, and oh my god, was it the most relaxing thing I have ever done in my life. Once I got over the initial fear of like how painful it would be and uncomfortable it would be, and I just did it, it was seriously the most relaxing thing I've ever done. So now at night before I sleep, I put the acupressure mat on the side of the bed and I lay down and I put a playlist on Spotify that's super relaxing. This is my favorite playlist on Spotify. It's like a massage playlist, and I set a timer for 20 minutes and I just sit there and I just relax. And for me personally, this works so well. I've never found an experience more relaxing than this. It's why I actually have to put a timer, because if I don't, then I'll just fall asleep. And I've been close to doing that many times, and that would be very bad. And just like I said in the beginning, not every single activity is something relaxing for everyone. My brother tried the mat and he didn't like it, but it's very affordable. So if you think that you would like it, I'll link it down below. You can just order it off Amazon. If you have any health issues or skin issues, please also just check with a doctor before you use the mat. But even if the mat isn't something that would work for you, just find something that personally gives you a deep sense of relaxation. For some people it's yoga, other people it's walking out in nature. Just find something that resonates with you and that you genuinely enjoy and can do sustainably for a long time. Sometimes even with these activities, that moment of being able to focus your attention and deeply relax and just stay still kind of emulates some aspects of meditation. So you can still reap the benefits and rewards of that focused attention and that stillness, even if you're not meditating in the typical way. So yes, it's great to have an alternative practice to meditation if you're struggling to meditate, but eventually we do want to lead up to actually meditating. So the next tip I want to give you if you're trying to meditate and start it as a new habit is to start very tiny. And what I mean by that is usually when we want to start a new habit, we kind of overshoot and we try and set a goal that's completely unsustainable. I've done it a million times where I'm like, wake up one day and I think to myself, okay, every single day this week I'm going to meditate for 15 minutes in the morning. So I might actually be successful for the first few days. I might get up and do that meditation for 15 minutes. But what usually ends up happening is that without fail, well, I fail. I can never manage to actually get through to the full week, and it's something that you may have experienced as well. The reason we keep failing when we set habits like this is because it's fine for when we feel motivated, but the problem is when we feel not motivated, then that 15 minutes feels like climbing a mountain. So what we need to do is set an achievement that's so easy for us to achieve that we can't convince ourselves out of it. So for example, instead of saying I'm going to meditate for 15 minutes every day this week, you say to yourself, I'm going to meditate for 10 seconds every day this week. And that amount of time is so small that you kind of feel a little bit ridiculous if you don't do it, because it's just so easy to sit there for 10 seconds and try to meditate. So what you're trying to do here is just build consistency. And consistency is super key to building long-term habits. And then what you'll find is that for the first 3 days, yes, you might just do 10 seconds of meditation, but then the next 3 days after that, you might bump it up to 15 seconds, and then 2 minutes, and then 10 minutes, and then 15 minutes. So it's building up that consistency and that kind of tolerance for the new habit. And this is a concept that I actually got from this book called Tiny Habits. And there's a little more that goes into actually making a new habit stick, and I'll briefly tell you about it. First thing that you need to do is set a trigger for you to do the new habit. So for example, you could say to yourself, I will meditate after I finish my morning coffee, or you can set an alarm for you to meditate every day at 9 a.m. in the morning. You do your meditation and remember to start tiny for 10 seconds. And then once you've done that, once you've actually achieved the new habit that you're trying to do, you need to celebrate. And the celebration can be anything that kind of makes you feel good and that's quick. So you could just have some words of affirmation for yourself, like, I'm awesome for doing that. Or you could do a little awkward dance or something. I'd probably do a really awkward dance in the mirror when no one was watching. So just to quickly summarize, what you're going to do is you're going to start by setting a trigger to remind yourself to meditate. Then you're going to meditate and start tiny, maybe just doing it for 10 seconds or so. And then once you finish the meditation, you're going to congratulate yourself and celebrate that you achieved your goal. I promise you, if you do this every day, you'll start to see how easy it is to form a new habit. I did this with flossing. Flossing was like the bane of my life before, but now I do it every single day and I actually really enjoy it. It feels really good. So the next tip I'm going to give you is something that I really wish someone had told me sooner. As you know, for most people during meditation, they focus on their breath while they're meditating. But for me, I actually found it really hard to focus and concentrate on my breath. So instead, I focused on a sound. I try to find a consistent humming sound or white noise in the background that I can focus my attention on. And when I focus my attention on that sound, I get into a meditative state much quicker than when I'm trying to force myself to focus on my breathing. One thing to keep in mind though is that if you're just in your room or you're somewhere trying to meditate and it's quiet, it can be a bit hard to find a consistent humming noise that stays consistent for a long time. So maybe find a playlist on YouTube or something. You can type in YouTube meditation frequencies and you'll get a bunch of different playlists, and you can run that in the background and see if that helps you. You might find that sound also doesn't work, but the important thing is just to try and find something that can hold your attention and your focus while you're meditating. It doesn't have to be breathing and it doesn't have to be sound. It could be something else. The whole point is just to focus your attention on that thing. Over time, as you start to become more comfortable with meditation, then you can try again to focus on your breath, because breathing within itself is a really powerful biological tool that's been scientifically backed to help with relaxation, nervous system regulation, and stress relief. So for some people, even if they follow all three of those tips, starting to meditate alone is just never motivating enough for them. So if you're one of those people, then maybe finding a partner to do it with can help you get started. You can try doing it with a roommate, your partner, a sibling, a friend, whoever. You can even try going to a meditation group, because sometimes just having someone else there can really be that extra motivational boost that we need just to get started. If, however, you prefer to meditate alone, you can still harness the power of accountability by using someone else to help you. If you have someone else involved in the process who is expecting you to meditate at a certain time, then usually you don't really want to let that person down, especially if they're a stranger. So if you can actually find a stranger to hold you accountable, that's probably the most ideal situation, because you probably don't want to let that stranger down if you've made a promise to them that you are going to meditate. Having someone there to hold you accountable is a really powerful way to actually get started and to motivate yourself to do things that you may otherwise struggle with. But I know for some people this might actually increase their stress levels, because you might just not want to let people down consistently if you're struggling to be consistent. But either way, I would give it a go if I were you, because you never know, it could just be that boosting factor that can help you really get consistent with your meditation. And the final tip really is just to remind yourself not to put too much pressure on yourself. At the end of the day, you're not doing this to become a guru or monk. Well, probably most of you aren't. You're just doing it for yourself and to help yourself feel better. And meditation has only really become mainstream in the past couple of years. We were never given the tools or the skill sets to learn how to sit still. If anything, we were always taught to do the opposite of that. So it will definitely take time for you to develop and build up this practice, this new skill, and to become consistent with it. And just like everything else, you may fall off and you may have to stop for a bit and try again, but if you just keep going, I promise you'll find a way to be consistent. And at the end of the day, keep in mind that meditation is one of many tools that can help you improve your mental health and well-being. It's a really powerful tool, but it's not the only thing that you can do. Either way, I do really encourage you to try these tips, and please let me know in the comments below if any of them have helped you in any way. I would really love to know. And if you've been feeling particularly stressed these days, I actually have another video on how to turn bad stress into good stress and use it to improve our mental health instead of just drowning in it. So if you're interested, you can watch that here. Otherwise, I hope you have a lovely day. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!